In 1960, Robert August, Rich Chew, and I made a trip to one of the outer islands, Kauai. It was my first trip to Kauai and my first time to rent a car. This was a brand new Studebaker Lark. They don't make them anymore. We headed out down the highway in search of some surf. Board surfing was virtually unheard of at the time in Kauai, so there was no one to ask about surfing spots. We came across this place and decided to give it a try. I have no idea where it was or what it was called, if anything. Most people don't realize how difficult it was to find surf spots at that time. There weren't surfers running around to ask. You didn't know if there was a swell running, and you couldn't hang around too long because you couldn't afford it, especially with a brand new rented Studebaker Lark. Surfing a new spot like this, you really had no idea what the bottom was like, whether coral, rocks, usually a combination of both. You can be sure of one thing, it will be sharp. We didn't find much surf in Kauai, so Robert and Rich headed out a pretty little trail to a place someone told us about called the Slippery Slide. It's an old lava tube with the top missing, and it's slippery as glass. Water running down into a beautiful little freshwater pool. Robert and Rich decided to try it tandem. Riding tandem, you have to watch where you step. If you get stepped on riding tandem, you can always get revenge. Back on Oahu, a surfer cooling off with some guava juice and dry ice mixed. It's not a good idea to swallow the dry ice. This is a place called Yokohama Bay. It breaks real close to the beach. This is Blackie August, Robert's father, an old-time surfer. He learned to surf before they invented the pullout. In fact, at Yokohama Bay, wipeouts are more common than pullouts. Just getting to your feet was a problem. Even taking it like rats on the beach. Earl Stoner hits the beach at about 15 miles an hour. Robert August and Denny Buell finally make a wave at Yokohama. When you make a wave, you end up so close to the beach you can look down and see what the sand crabs are up to. Here's a surfer with unusual style and grace. There are a lot of rocks on the bottom at Yokohama Bay. Here Johnny Moore spots one and dives on it. Yokohama Bay was a pretty gnarly place for its day. It would be a few years yet before anyone surfed the pipeline. Yokohama was the pipeline of its day. Jerry Pearson with a beautiful kick out. Lofts his board way over the top of the wave. The board turns over gradually in midair and spears him in the back. Earl Stoner getting sucked over the falls behind Johnny Moore. Johnny hears him yell and runs over someone else. Back in California, at Windansea Beach, the barefoot adventurers have given up slime sliding for a new sport, a version of arm wrestling, toe wrestling. Del Cannon and Harry Nielsen going at it. They take this sport very seriously. Fantastic wagers are placed in each match, and athlete's foot is spread through the community. Del trying to strangle the life out of Harry's big toe. There's more than one way to win a toe wrestling match. It's a rematch. The ultimate event in toe wrestling is the Absorbine Junior Triple Crown. 3 contestants, 30 dirty toes, 24 little nooks and crannies for athlete's foot to hide. When they really get going, they look like a bunch of dying angleworms. South of San Clemente, California, is a place called Trestles. Del Cannon with some fun little waves. Trestles was on the Camp Pendleton Marine Base, and a small guerrilla war raged between the Marines and the surfers. The surfers would sneak in, take over the waves, and the Marines would arrive and boot them out. Here's Colonel Kook, head of military intelligence, with his high-tech spy camera. The camera only cost the taxpayers $2,000, which was still a better deal than the Pentagon hammer. Gotcha. That picture now hangs in headquarters on the 10 most wanted surfers list. At the trestle at low tide, you had the ever-popular rock dance. One time when I asked a Marine who was kicking me out of the water why we couldn't surf the trestles, he said, "Because of the snags." I said, "What's a snag?" He said, "Say you don't even know what a snag is. That's why you can't surf here." Now that Trestles is open to the public, it gets so crowded it makes you miss the Marines. This guy had an original surfing style. He made Phil Edwards look knock-kneed. No one ever copied his style.